abusua kwa aba POG media so nene yede ani enso ebo Ryan Simane ebo ra the national signal bureau akachi Boahen ne scandal case no so abetodwa di court akoniaba age no atente obo na adwuma yi pa sa case ho a ono so ten nkɔfo de charges bomb no into witnesses said be ya ono so be fast na say ono so etimi ama judgment and as prosecution no and so etimi akoso na Boahen say jail no be face ya ono so etimi afface na when na ene omko gina court no omo so Boahen lawyers and so etimi akofa mrada da bi aba ne scandal part of case ni bia na say almost 40 point something Ghana cedis na say Sasi Kapudo na ono so wi other part of the case no omo ko fa sam ran mrada da no aba betwitwa age Boahen sa case na judges for children say sam ran de enya dwuma ahabiem ne santi Boahen and so case bako and so etimi abu abona enya asem keto abusua me say bejebre ne abo rasa story with us.
Dismissed applications by the lawyers representing the former National Signals Bureau Director General, that's Governor Boahen, and his wife in one case, as well as lawyers for the former CEO of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, that's the GIF, in the Accra SkyTrain criminal trial. Now, these applications sought to overturn High Court rulings on further disclosures of documents. So what does this mean, right? And I want to get into it, especially taking into cognizance how these two cases have evolved over time. Dennis Baberi Wadam Esquire is an officer of the court. He has been monitoring this quite closely. What does this development mean? Let's start off with the Boahen case.
Well, so it simply means that the case which is before the High Court will proceed uninterrupted. That's because these were interlocutory matters that the Court of Appeal had to deal with. That's because you recall that during the trial at the High Court, there was an application for the Attorney General to disclose, as the accused persons want, further information. Mm-hmm. That is to say, they wanted the full complement of documents that the Attorney General was going to use to prosecute them, in specific reference to some detail of statement of accounts from the national security. For the accused persons, they wanted the information right from 1992 till date. But it was the case of the Attorney General that the case before the court is in respect of a specified period of time, and that's the matters from 1992 till date were not the matters that were in contention, but just matters from 2017 up till 2024. Right. So that has been the matter. The High Court dismissed that particular application, which meant that the Attorney General was not under any obligation to disclose that information. Dissatisfied with that, they filed two applications. One, which was determined last week, that was in respect of the prohibition application. That is to say, the ruling that the High Court made in respect of that smacks of bias for which he should be prohibited from hearing the matter. That matter was determined by the Supreme Court last week, and it was determined by way of a dismissal unanimously. The other leg of it had to do with an appeal at the Court of Appeal. That was determined today. The Court of Appeal too also dismissed that particular application. What it now means is that they have to go back to the High Court and continue with the trial.
I see.
In respect of the SkyTrain matter, a similar application had been mounted in respect of, for Solomon Asamoah, the former CEO of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. In his case, he was asking that the Attorney General discloses board meeting minutes. Because recall, the crux of that matter is that the CEO, together with the board chair, they had approved certain funds, 2 million Ghana cedis, to be sunk into this particular project. That we did not see the project, but the money was paid.
True.
And the case of the Attorney General is that this money was not approved by the board. So then, it is the case of the accused person in this particular matter, that's Solomon Asamoah, that in helping me to defend myself, disclose, in addition to all the information you want to put before the court, all the minutes of the board meetings.
Right. So as to then
help me. Because it is the accused person's right that you are entitled to full disclosure.
Absolutely.
Now, that was also denied by the High Court. That is the matter which they also took to the Court of Appeal to appeal the decision of the High Court. That today, the Court of Appeal made that determination and they dismissed that matter as well. So what it also means, again, is that they are also back to the High Court to continue with the trial. So, Alfred, these are the updates that are coming by way of the Sky Train trial and also in respect of the trial of Boahen and his wife.
So essentially what this means is that the legal, for the lack of a better expression, impediments
Yes.
in the way of these two cases that truncated its procession have been removed.
As it stands now, yes, it's fair to say so.
So the cases will proceed as expected.
The cases are expected to proceed. But also remember that every now and then, interlocutory matters come up. There are always filing of processes. And in the absence of any, the expectation is that the trial will continue to proceed. So that is where we find ourselves now when it comes to these two particular matters, Alfred.
Interesting stuff. And then, so we'll see how the coming days will look like on this.
Precisely. And this week, of course, we're in court on some of these matters. We're keeping our tabs on and we'll bring our viewers up to speed with the latest in respect of these matters.
We'll keep an eye on this one. Dennis Babari Esquire, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on this. And it's going to stay with me a bit further because that's coming up next. The Asutifi North Member of Parliament, Ebenezer Kwekwado, is facing the CID investigations as we speak. And we're going to give you the details of what we're learning right now because he's been accused of inciting the youth to attack the NIMOS task force. What really happened at this Hidiem area? Now, the full story is coming up because there's been quite a number of statements. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has also issued a statement. Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa has condemned the attack on the members of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, that's the NIMOS, during that operation at Bronikrom, near Hidiem in the Ahafo region. Now, this is a amateur video that we got earlier. Now, it has not been disputed, it's been confirmed. In fact, it's been condemned. As we're seeing now from a number of persons, the NIMOS team was attacked on Saturday by irate youth numbering over 500 after arresting some persons engaged in illegal mining. Now, here, what you're seeing now is the NIMOS, one of the NIMOS task force members who was attacked by these marauding young people. And fortunately, the Ghana Police Service personnel who were at this particular location came to his rescue, put him in the vehicle that was also vandalized by this irate youth in the area because an illegal mining operator, a Galamsey operator, had been arrested, or some Galamsey operators had been arrested by these NIMOS people who were just doing their job, as has been prescribed for them to do, clamp down on illegal mining. This is not the first time we're seeing this happen. A couple of months ago, we also had to deal with the situation of the IGP's task force, which was set up by the IGP to clamp down on illegal mining, also being attacked by some residents of Bonteso when they went there. And we have a video of that. We'll recall that and show it to you because it reminds us of exactly what has been going on. And we'll be finding out what has emboldened these people to attack the task force members who are supposed to be the ones and that's clamping down on illegal mining. They are rather at the receiving end of the anger of the people. Now, if you recall, Dr. Hanabishu as well, together with some other officials of the Ghana Police Service, personnel for that matter, were also held hostage about a little over 3 months ago when they also went in there to clamp down on people who are engaged in illegal mining. And this keeps happening. So this is not the first time we're seeing this. The Member of Parliament for that area, that's the Asutifi North, Ebenezer Kwekwado, has issued a statement essentially denying his involvement. He's in the eye of the storm. He's also been explaining his side of the story. We're going to put that statement on the screen right now. And then really, we're getting to know as well that it's expected to meet the police CID tomorrow, as has been captured in the Ghana Police Services statement on this particular issue. So this is it. This is what he put out earlier today, that on the 1st of November, he was en route to a funeral in Akyea, that's Esutify South, when he learned of tensions at Fidium linked to a military operation at a gold mining site. He contacted Honorable Collins Dauda, who is a member of parliament for Esutify South, who asked him to visit the site and engage the military on his behalf. Upon arrival, he introduced himself to the military leader and sought to de-escalate the situation as some youth were gathering at the scene. He advised all parties to move to the police station to make official statement and hand over seized items and suspects to ensure calm. At the Fidium police station, he worked alongside the military, police officers, NIB operatives, and other security personnel as statements were taken. He invited the Zongo chief of Fidium to help restore peace. The chief later transported some military officers in his vehicle.
So like you made a make sure show drop or like that's all subscribe to a POG Political Media and the book one and 10 pass or subscribe because POG Media there a banner the internet the entire or my Ghana political space about a POG person now sabet me a cabin also who the echo and the air banning na the science message show drop or subscription or waiting to slide into the comment section or now so wait me edin komo e the afaju medium said the bear jumedi and so a bit me abe crab and I come here say yeah do Boahen a lawyers a Atta almost a play a smart game be or quarter a judges for no and so a smarter than him almost children say sa a mra radio from bra and near Juma or quarter and it's a year over 49 point something a year billion a year Ghana cedis no and also a year charges no and so a do Boahen a simwa on also every face a year jail in the coming days.
After he, Honorable Addo, left for other funerals, the Zongo chief's vehicle was attacked with its rear glass smashed. He denied inciting the youth or obstructing any security operation, emphasizing his actions were guided by the need to maintain peace and order. He expressed disappointment that the police reported did not acknowledge his efforts in calming the situation. He urged the public to disregard the false reports meant to tarnish his image. He's also reaffirmed his commitment to law, order, and the safety of his constituents. Now, we'll tell you why he's faulting the police for not capturing, as he put it in his words, his effort to try and calm the situation. Well, because the police were quite clear. He has to report to the CID tomorrow to make a statement beyond what he has put in the public. Engineer Dr. Kenashigbe is joining us right now on Zoom. He is the leader of the Ghana Coalition against Galamsey. He's joining us right now. Engineer, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. You've heard me read the narrative of the Member of Parliament who is in the eye of storm right now, and then also what the CID, in fact, the police statement is asking him to come and do. You have seen this video and what it captures. Clearly, the attack on this NIMOS official. Troubling, isn't it, in the midst of all of these different narratives we are hearing. If you can unmute for me. If you can unmute for me.
Recalling the fact that we've had these mob attacks on state officials who are doing their legitimate functions. And the unfortunate thing is that in the past, the two incidents that you've mentioned, we have not seen what has happened to these people who have been involved in it. In those situations, there were video footages of the elements that are involved in it, but nothing tends to happen. And so for me, it is important that in this particular situation, we need to let everybody in Ghana know that nobody is above the state institution. And when the state is acting with the powers that we've all given to them. And it's important that the state acts with the toughness that is required to ensure that criminal elements like those that we've seen who are involved in this particular activity do not get away with it. Let's not forget so quickly that General Mahama lost his life in a situation like this. And again, in the situation in Bontresso, the police people also acted with a lot of caution because they had a lot of firepower that they could have used. In this situation as well, you have a colonel who is involved in it, and by his training and all of that, restrained his people. And so we did not have any bloodbath. We should not wait, and then the situation would then escalate. And then you have some military people who would be attacked, who might not be able to restrain themselves, and then we would have casualties. So it is important that we deal with this situation. So we've seen the statement issued by the police. I've seen a few statements or some information also put out by the team from NIMAS. And then we've had the MP as well. And so for me, it's good that the IGP is inviting the MP. I've also seen the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources also issue a statement and talking about the fact that, these issues will be dealt with. It is very important that we get to the bottom of this particular issue, and everybody who is involved, who can be identified, should be dealt with the full rigors of the law. All the evidence that have been gathered, everybody who's been arrested, the people who are behind that particular activity, do they have a permit? Are they working according to their permit? We need to emphasize that, ensure that all of that is done, and they ought to be punished. They ought to be punished. So it is so important. The coalition, I'm out of town, but the coalition is working on a statement. We will be issuing a statement very soon. Yeah, Fred.
And you're talking about they've been arrested and as soon as possible. We do know tomorrow, all these actors, the member of parliament in question, is expected at the CID to also give a statement on account of exactly what happened. Now, it's instructive that you reference the two previous instances that I referenced. There's no record of any arrest, at least from what we do know.
Correct, yes. And you see, and that's what emboldens people like this. Because in that particular situation, there was also, I think there was, in the Bontresso issue, there was a DCU who came claiming that what they were doing was some sand winning and all of that. And, we did not also see. And this is where I call on His Excellency that these people work at his behest. So when you have a DCU or an MC who is in a particular area when this thing happens, and instead of him supporting the police people who are state actors, come to support the community, and nothing happens to that MC after that incident, nobody in that community is also arrested. You have also the situation of Anabisu as well, where the police officer who is involved, who was supposed to have, gotten the mob to attempt to attack Anabisu, we don't hear anything happening to all of them. This is what emboldens them. Fortunately for us, crime do not have a time bar. So it is important that we, in all of these issues, we go back and deal with the perpetuators of this, the people who are behind it. And we have video footage of all of these people. We should be able to identify them. We should not wait and let the military who would feel, attacked in this and disgraced in this particular manner now want to also go back and say, you know what, these people who did wrong, let's make sure we're punishing them. And they can do that. But we've seen in all the situations that whether it's the police or the military, they have been restrained. So we should not allow this thing. And you see, unfortunately, now this illegal mining has become organized crime. You go into places like South America and all of that, this is what they do. Then they mobilize mobs who are behind all of these people, and they perpetuate these kind of things. And they then overrun the state actors so the president needs to ensure, working together with the Minister of Interior, with the Minister for Defense, to show the power of the state. We need to show it to these criminal elements and tell them that there's no space for them to be able to hide. And those people who are behind this should be fished out and punished as severely as possible.
And you mentioned the Bontreso one that involved the IGP's task force that was attacked. I wanted to hold on a bit. We'll recall what happened in the instance of the Bontreso incident, where the IGP's task force that was set up to fight Galamsey was also attacked by the residents in the area because they had gone there to clamp down on illegal mining activities. In fact, they impounded on some excavators, destroyed some chamfans, and then also picked a few people up. And this is what they were subjected to. Take a look. So, Engineer, there you have it. And this incident happened. In fact, he had to take, as you indicated, there's been some level of restraint in all three instances. In this particular one, the IGP's task force, some officials in there, or personnel, fired some warning shots into the sky to disperse this teeming crowd of residents who were massing up to attack them.
That's it. So come when I bought Eddie Raju Media, we say POG Media, the Ghana authentic political updates, any headlines are a POG Media. So now sabeti me akabi now so who the echo and the air bandina my Ghana political space. Now measure some subscribers still up and the no book so I drop subscription. Now I share enough for us to answer. So it's me akaju media be so who the echo and the air bandina my Ghana political space. We seem to slide into the comment section or now so it's me come and the far age media. But that's it.